very, very strict. Because all the living entities is coming from him. In order for we to go back, we have to go through Lord Balaram. And Lord Balaram is very, very intense. He does not make any kind of joke. At one time when he was here with Sri Krishna, that his son was kidnapped by Duryodhana and associates. So Lord Balaram took up his axe and he went. Some of the elders in the village, he took them with him. And he sent to make a plea to the dynasty of King Dhritarashtra that please release my son. So they sent back a message and they said, we gave all your place to live. All you can't even fit inside we shoes. But yet, all you come and order in we. We are the ones who rule this kingdom. And where that place where all you stay, that place was given to you by us. So when Lord Balaram heard these offensive words, that he didn't say anything. The people who brought the message, they went back. So he took his axe and he started digging up the ground. And at one point he hooked the whole of that, what is the place where they resided? Hastinapur. He hooked that whole area that is called Hastinapur, hooked it into his axe, and he started dragging it to throw it into the Ganges. And so when Duryodhana and them felt this thing like earthquake, everything is mashing up and shaking up, buildings are falling like that, that they immediately realized that they have made a mistake, that this personality, Lord Balaram, is no one that one should play with. So they brought his son and Dhritarashtra's wife, not Dhritarashtra, Duryodhana's daughter and Lord Balaram's son, put them in front, and a whole entourage of them went and they started begging Lord Balaram, started glorifying him. And when they started to glorify him, that he became pleased. And he released Hastinapur from his axe. And if you go today, it is described that Hastinapur is like that, as if it was pulled and was entering into the Ganges. So this is the personality of Lord Balaram. And all of us, whenever we have to leave this material world, it is Lord Balaram we have to pass through. So if you think that you could slack and you could say, all right, I could do it later and I'll still have plenty life to live, remember that you have to give account to Lord Balaram. But lucky for us, that same Lord Balaram, he came as Lord Nityananda. And as Lord Nityananda, he is not so strict. He has given his mercy to everyone. He has opened a marketplace in Navadvip. And he's given everyone. You don't have to pay for it. He's given it freely. He's given the holy name to everyone. Please chant this holy name and come out of this material world. Two things that the chanting of the holy name does. One is that if you are intense enough, and when I say intense, first you must not commit any offense against the holy name. And when you start to chant, know that offense comes very easily. Sometimes I meet a devotee, he's chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. But when he see me approaching, Hare Krishna, Hare, yes Prabhu, what do you want? That is not chanting. It is an offense to inattentively chant the names of Krishna. So you don't chant Hare Krishna, and you're watching cars, you're watching trees, you're watching the grass, you're watching to see how the building is looking. No. Your mind, this is why the process is Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam Vishnu. Chanting, hearing, and remembering Vishnu. So we put Lord Krishna in our mind. And some of us do have that ability that if when you're chanting, you get a pitya and you watch that pitya of Lord Krishna and fix it in your mind. So even when the pitya is not there, it is fixed within your mind. And you are not offensive by watching cars and talking, cutting your wrongs to talk to people and totally distracted from the actual goal of this chanting. So when one chants without offense and he is able to establish himself in that chanting, two things happen. One is that you are able to see the soul just as how you see this body. And that soul is the real you, not the body. The body is not you. This is only the vehicle by which we use to perform activities. And the next thing that happens, and this is where you have to become even more intense in chanting, that you will attain love for God. And so there is a personality called Haridas Thakur, and he has shown us this. He would chant 100,000 names every day. We are given, Srila Prabhupada say, do 64. And then everybody complains, say, okay, do 32. And then everybody come and complain again. And he say, okay, for Westerners, do 16. And even though that he had broken it down to 16, that still people was complaining. They would go to his god brother and tell him that Prabhupada is too strict, too much chanting, too much. He wants us to shave our heads and cut our beards. And so he gave them his mercy and he said, okay, you can keep your hair and your beard and thing, no problem. Wear karmic clothes and thing, no problem. Chant one round every day, one round. And even that one round was still difficult for people to do. So the compromise would not get you the actual goal. The actual goal is 64 rounds. So I met this devotee, this American devotee. And I told him about 64 rounds, and he started to chastise me. He said, Prabhupada don't want us to chant more than 16 rounds. He said 16 rounds. And you cannot imitate. But understand that when Prabhupada break it down, is because devotees were saying that their activities in Krishna consciousness, such as cooking and collecting food stuff and selling books, and that it was so much that they weren't able to dedicate